Yeah, I guess you already know what is the difference between one slash and double slash. Okay. So if it is one slash, you will just get the real value. But if you use the two slash, you will get the integer result. Okay. So let's move on to the next. We have the modulo. What is modulo? Yeah, if I run this, you will get the remainder. Okay, remaining value. So we have the 10 divided by 3, and the remaining is 1, or we call the in Korean is namoji. Okay, and we are going to learn how to define variable in Python. Okay, so in Python we only need to define the variable name without the data type. So if you already learn Java, or if you learn C language, you need to define what is the data type. It's necessary to define the data type because every data type has different function. Okay? So if it is number, then you can do the arithmetic function. If it is text or string, the function will be different. Okay? But in Python, it's easy. You do not need to define the data type. So unlike the other programming languages like C, Java, Python can automatically recognize the variable value without any definition. So in Java, you need to define integer or float or string, but in Python, you don't need to define that one. So let's see. I have a variable x, and then I want to put the value 9. Then yeah, you can, if I run this one, you can, if you know, you can press shift enter or alt enter. Okay. Then you can see that x is 9. Okay. If you want to put string, so you can just define the variable. Let's say I have the variable name, and I want to put the value park as the name. Then I can print the name, and you will get the value which is park. Let's say I want to define a float. Okay. What is the difference between integer and float? Integer. What is integer? It is the natural number, like 1, 2, 5. Okay. So we have the value without comma, without decimal. Okay. But if it is float, then you have the value as a real number. So you can define 5,2. Okay. Or you have like 6,0. Okay, so 0.0 is also a float data type. So please remember, in Python, they distinguish between integer and float. And temperature, usually we have like the comma for this number. So if you put this, then you can see the result is 32.3. So in the case that we need to get a value from the user, so we can use the command input. Okay. So let's say enter your school name. So I want to input this value. After you input the value, you will put the value into the variable school, and then print what is the value of the school. So if you run this, it will show you the input section. You can type any name here. Let's say I want to type Hanguk University of Foreign Studies. Then if you press enter, the value Hanguk University of Foreign Studies will be the value of the variable school. And if we print the variable school, you will get the result. So if you need to get an integer value, you can use the function int. So this function will convert the input value to integer. So note that the input should be an integer value, not a letter or string. Okay, what does it mean? Let's see this one. If I have input, okay, so any input that you give to Python, the original data type is string. So if you have a value that you want to change, okay, let's say I want to in the previous year, the input you have string, but if you want to have one more, let's say if you want to have like x1 equals to input any integer number. So you can input the integer number, but the data type that Python do is a string. Okay. So if you want to convert the data type from string into integer, you need to use this int. So I will just remove this one. So I have a number and I want to change that value into integer. If you change the value into integer, yeah, then you can do the arithmetic function such as addition, yeah, or subtraction, and yeah, any other arithmetic value like multiplication and etc. Okay, if you are in the string, yeah, you cannot do any arithmetic function because it is a text. And let's say you need to input any integer number. So I want to input like 5,0. Is it possible? It will be error. Okay, because you want to get only integer. If I input, for example, A, B, C, when you press enter, it's also error because they require you to get integer. So you need to get only integer value, which is 5, then it will show you the value of 5. What if you want to change to float? Yeah, you can change this one to float. Okay. So if you change this float, then you will get the value like 5. If you input 5, then the number will be 5.0. If you input 5.2, then the number will be 5.2. Okay, so let me just return back to integer. So this is the example of float. Okay, so if you enter the temperature, let's say you input 21, then it will be 21.0. So that's the basic of the syntax. Now I would like to explain how if we have the sequence. Okay, so in programming, it is important to understand the sequence. Sequential is the basic concept of programming that everyone should understand. So the sequence of code execution for any programming languages would follow top to bottom or left to right. Okay, so the important part is top to bottom. So yeah, we will do the sequence. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. But when you have one row, you will follow the rule from left to the right. Okay. In the top to bottom, it will be following the sequence of multiple statements. So if we have multiple statements, yeah, we will follow what is the first, what is the next, and next, and next, and next. So let's see if I have a variable x, and then I have x equals to 20, and then I have y equals to x multiplied by 5. And then I want to print y. What is the result of y? Yeah, we can see because x is null or no value. And then we define x equal to 20, and then we define y equals to x multiplied by 5. So it means 20 multiplied by 5, then the y is 100. So it follows the step. In the left to right, it is important to understand the precedence rule in arithmetic. What is the precedence rule? So if you have all the function are addition, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Of course, you know, it's easy. Yeah. The result is 15. Okay. But okay, yeah, if the arithmetic operation are all the same, so it is unnecessary to check the precedent rules. But it will affect the result if the arithmetic operations are different. You know, if we have like 3 plus 2 multiplied by 4 minus 5 divided by 2, what is the result? Okay, you can see the result is 8.5. Why? Actually, if you want to follow the rule that I explained before, it should follow the left to right. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 multiplied by 4 is 20. 20 minus 5, 15. 15 divided by 2 should be 7.5. But why the answer is 8.5? Why? They follow the precedence rule. So the multiply, division will be first, and then plus and minus will be next. And this one follows the left to right. So let's see, what is the first? Sorry. What is the first here? This is addition. This is multiply. Okay. Okay, so the first will be 2 multiplied by 4. Okay, thank you. So 2 multiplied by 4 will be 8. And then what is next? 5 divided by 2. Okay, thank you. What is 5 divided by 2? In Python, we separate between the division and double slash. Double slash is to get the integer. And this one will get the float. Okay. Then 5 divided 2 equals to 2.5. And okay, thank you. We have 2.5. And what next? So we will start to do the left to right again. Okay, thank you. It's correct. 3 plus 8. That is the result from 2 multiplied by 4. So now the result will be 11. And then 11 will be minus by 2.5. So 11 minus 2.5 will be 8.5. Okay. So the sequence will follow the rule. This is the rule in the programming language. And the rules will be the same for every programming language like Python, Java, and C. If you use another programming language, you need to check what is the precedence rule in that programming language. Okay, then if we want to do something, okay, now this is the explanation. So the multiply and the division will be executed first, and then plus and minus will be subsequently executed. However, the result will be different if we put some parentheses. What is parenthesis? This is value bracket. I don't know how to mention in in Korean value. Okay, so if we put this bracket or parenthesis, the result will be different. So in this case, we will do the operation in the bracket first, which is 5, and then multiply by 4, which is 20, and then we will do the division, which is 2.5, and then we will minus 20 minus 2.5, and the result will be 17.5. Okay, I hope that you can understand. This is the basic of the computer programming. Okay, so if you run this, yeah, the result is 17.5. Okay, next is about selection. Okay. After we understand the sequential, we need to understand the selection. Selection is related to options. And in any programming languages, the syntax for selection is if. So the condition are true or false. Okay. So if it is true, then you will do the statement after the colon. Okay, we call it, this is the symbol colon. What is it? Then next. Some operator or conditional tests in the arithmetic. Now we have this one, equal. So if we want to check whether the variable x equal to 50, then we need to use double equal sign. If you want to say, if you want to check whether x is not equal 50, so we can use this symbol, exclamatory sign and equal. Greater than, we use this symbol, greater than or equal to, less than, and less than or equal to. Now we can see from this example, we have x equals to 2. And I want to check if x is greater than 1. So in our logic, is it true or false? Yeah, it is. Okay, it's true. Then we can go to this statement. Yeah. Then we need to put this colon. Okay. In one statement, we need to put the colon in order to execute the true statement. So if we run this, x equals to 2, and if x is greater than 1, then print x. X is the variable and the value is 2, and then we print is greater than 1. Okay. So please remember that you need to do the indentation. Okay. So you need to put space. If you do not put space like this, what happens? Then it will be error. So Python is very sensitive with this one. You can do two things. First, you can use tab. Okay, if you use tab, it will automatically put you in one position that fits for Python. Or you can put in the space. Okay? So for example, you want to space 1, 2, 3, and you can see that the color is still in the red. If the color is still in the red, then it means it is not in the position. So you can make it until green like this. So if you run, then yeah, you can get the result. In any case, the condition can be true or false. So you can use the else statement. Now I have x equals to 5. If x is divided, if x can be divided by 2, okay, so this one means if x divided by 2 and the remaining is 0, okay, it means if x can be divided by 2. So the result will be it is an even number. You can see there's a colon here, and we need to put the space or indentation. And after we have the value, we can check if it is false. So this is the condition when it is true, and this is the condition when it is false. So if it is false, then print x is odd. So 5 cannot be divided by 2, so it is an odd. If you change this to 6, then 6 is even number because 6 can be divided by 2. If there are any more conditions, okay, then you can use else-if statement. What is else-if? You have x equals to 0. If x is greater than 0, then x is a positive. And then else-if, yeah, we put the colon again for knowing that we want to execute the next statement when this condition is true. So we will print x is a negative number. Else, it will be the last option. Okay, so you can put else-if, else-if, else-if. You can put as many as you want for this else-if. And then if there is no matching condition, then you will just print in the else section. If you run this, then you will get 0 is 0. Okay. In computer programming, there's another concept about iteration. Okay. Iteration is a programming concept to do some statements until the condition is unmet. So if the condition is true, you will keep doing. But if the condition is false, you will stop. Okay. So for example, we want to print a number from 0 until 5. Then the statements will be executed if the number is not greater than 5. Let's see. I have a value from I equals to 0, and then range. So the range here means I want to print a number until 6 minus 1. So if you run, okay, please remember the statement, this is using the for loop, and this is the variable, and if the variable is in the range, then yeah, so we put the colon to indicate the 10, and then we will print I, and you will get the value which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the result will be in the vertical. Okay, why 6 is not printed? Yeah, because this is the Python rule. So if you change this 5, then it will be printing until 4. So it will be until minus 1. So if you print 8, yeah, if you want to have 0 until 7, then you need to put 8 here. You can also do, note that the Python will do the iteration until n minus 1. So if you put 8, then you will print until 7. And you can also use the statement with from 2. For example, 1, 6, then it will print from 1 until 5. So if you have this one for I in range 1, 6, so the beginning will be always the same with your statement, but the ending will be always minus 1. So in this case, yeah, you will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. How if I want to print 1 until 9? If I want to print 1 until 9, then the range will be 1, comma. Okay, good. Okay, so we will use the number 10. Okay, so we will get the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I want to print only from 5 until 9, the from will be based on your statement, and yeah, we will just print 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 using this statement. Alternatively, we can use while statement for iteration. In the case of while statement, yeah, you need to define the original value or the initial value. So for example, Z, I have, it is the initial value. And then I want to check if Z is less than 5. So if the condition is true, then, okay, again, we have the colon. The colon will indicate the 10. Again, don't forget to put some space. Okay, we need to give the indentation and then print Z, and then if you are using the for, the addition will be automatically plus by 1. Okay. But here you can define by yourself. Let's say now I have Z plus 1. So when I know that Z is less than 5, print Z, because Z is 0, then it will be printing 0, and Z will be adding by 1, and then after that we will go to this condition again. 1 is less than 5. Yes, then we will print 1, and then 1 will be added by 1, and we will get 2. Again, 2 will be checked by the condition. 2 is less than 5. Yes, then print 5 and will be added by 1, and so on. So you can change the condition here. Let's say I want to change this into 10, and then I want to change this one to 2. So you can have the condition as you wish. Okay? So you can put this increment in your what you want to do for this kind of iteration. If you want to put z plus 2, or if you want to have multiplication or the square, that's also possible. Function. Okay. In a function, it is a collection of statements that can be used in another statement. Rather than repeating some statements, we can make a function and call the function to run some statement in some iteration. So we can make function whenever we need that collection, or whenever we need that group of statement, we can just call the function name. There are two types of function: function without written value and function with written value. A function without written value is a function to execute the statement without giving any value. So you can just call and finish. But if the function with written value, you need to give a particular value according to the user requirement. So let's see the example. Oh, before I explain the example, you need to understand that a function should use def. Okay. So def is a statement to create a function. A function can contain arguments or without argument in the parentheses. So I will explain what is the meaning by argument. And the same with the selection and iteration, we need to write the colon. In order to run the function, we can just write the function name depending on the arguments. So actually, there are many ways to, there are many variation to create the function, but I will just teach you the basic one. Maybe in the next lecture, or in the next lecture, we will try to figure out more about this function. So let's say I would like to make a function, and this function has no parameter, without parameter. So the function name is test function, and I want to print hello function. Okay. So def is the starting point to define it is a function. And in order to know that it is a function, you need to put this one, brackets. And then you need to put the colon to indicate the statements after this will be the statement for the function. When you call this function, so this is the function, test function, you will print hello function. You can change the name, for example, test1 function. Yeah. Why the Python still run this one, even though the name is different? We have test1 function, but I call test function and it works. Why? Do you know why? Oh, I'm sorry. There is a question. If okay, it is about the previous one, right? Okay, Sin Young, I will answer your question a little bit later. Yeah. Okay, function have already print. Okay, yes, that's right. Thank you. So when you already run your function, it will be saved in the computer memory. So the Python already remember that you already have the function test1 function. So if you run this test1 function, yeah, the result will be the same. But if you have different name, then it will be error because you don't have test2 function. So you need to define the name precisely. Okay. Now it is a function with two parameters. What the meaning by two parameters? So you can see in the brackets. In the brackets there are two variables. The first variable is name, and the second variable is school. And if you still remember, in Python, we do not need to define the variable type. I mean, we don't need to define the data type. Then what is the data type for name? I don't know. You can define by yourself. You can put string, you can put numbers, but you need to be consistent. If you put this name, then yeah, all here for the statement should be related to the string. If you consider this variable as an integer, then you need to be consistent. All the things should be in an integer. Now let's assume that this parameter is about the string. So this is my name and this is my school. So you can print the name and school when I call the function. So this is the function display. And there are two parameters. The first is name and the other is the school name. I can use another example, display, and again I have two parameters. So you need to define two values because we have two parameters. Again, this is another example with a display function and the name and the school name. Because we have two parameters, then we need to define those two parameters. Okay. What happens if I just put one parameter? Then it will be error. Display missing one required positional argument. So I want to say this is the meaning by argument. When you define two variables in this function, then you need to put also two variables in when you call the function. Okay. What if I put one more? For example, Yongin. Okay. Then it is also error because I have only two parameters, but here I put three. Okay. So you need to be precise when you define this kind of function. Okay, and oops, well, I forgot to put the space here about the learning check. Anyway, I have the list, for example, here. Okay, now it's a little bit complicated. List, I will explain after this part actually for the list. But let's say I have list and then I have name and count. I would like to print the name, and then for every numbers in the list, 1 and 0, it is like the position. So the first position is 0, the second position is 6. So let's put the position number 1 equals to the position number 0 minus 1. And then let's say I want to have A equals to 5. And then I want to make return value. So the return value is count the position of 1. So the result will be Bernardo because I want to print the name, and the return value will be 4 because it is 5 minus by 1. Okay, okay, I guess I can stop until this part. Okay. Yeah, you can check this one. You can try by yourself. You don't need to submit this one, but it is just for your practice. Okay. So I guess I will stop here.